finger spelling. So this is the way that we handle teaching kids to spell. So this is one technique that Logic of English uses. And we wouldn't need to use finger spelling or some of these techniques for words that are really easy to spell. So for example, mat. At. There's actually only one sound and one way to spell each of these sounds. So it's very, very simple to spell a word like mat because there's one sound and one phonogram. Toy. Now there's two ways to spell oi, but there's a spelling rule that tells us which one to use, right? We use oi that you may use at the end of English words. You can't use this one because English words do not end in I, U, V, or J. So even though there's two ways to spell the sound oi, there's really only one way to spell this word. So that's easy. But then there are these words that are hard to spell. You tell someone to, write the word beat. First of all, do you mean this or do you mean this? And how do we cue students which one that we want them to spell? Because both are legitimate spellings. We're going to use something called finger spelling for sounds that have multiple spellings. With finger spelling, we will hold up one finger if the phonogram is spelled with one letter. We will hold up two fingers if the phonogram is spelled with two letters. And we will hold up three fingers if the phonogram is spelled with three letters. And four if it's spelled with four letters. So let's practice finger spelling together. And we'll begin with the word snack. So when we do this, let's try it like this. S, n, a, k. So that's one way to do it. And you can see the whole word, snack. Let's try light. U, I, t. All right? How about queen? Qua, e, use E double E, n. You can use your thumb. Yeah, that's fine. How about school? S, k, use ch, k, sh. So I'm going to cue ones that have multiple options. U, use U, O, U. Okay? Now, some of you can use your thumb. And in fact, I'll show you another way right now because some people's fingers don't move like mine. So one advantage if your fingers move like mine is you can see the whole word on your hand. But another way to do it is like this. Let's try the word bear. You'll just hold up one finger at a time. B, A, use E at A, Okay, so that's better for some of you. And let's try it that way again with the word peak. E, we're going to cue this one because there's multiple options for spelling. Use E double E, k, use a tall k. All right, think. I, and you can cue this, use I, E, ya. N, k, use tall k. And we don't want to say the letter names. We really want to practice those sounds because that reinforces how those are spelled. Let's try health. Use E, A, O. Do you see it? Okay.
Let's do it again. D, A.
Until my last day I teach, I will be trying for the very best. And that's what I think the logic of English is.
So that was just a very short clip that we happened to have of a teacher finger spelling. We didn't have very long clips. But you could even see the kids finger spelling with her. So the children don't need to finger spell, but if they do, don't stop them. The primary purpose of it is for you to cue how many letters are in this phonogram, or how many letters are in the phonogram that are saying the sound, and then if there's multiple options, for you to tell them which one to use. Does that make sense? So we're not asking students to guess, but we're also asking them to do the part that they can do on their own. Segment that word, and then you will cue them which parts. You will cue them when there's questions about how that's spelled. Any questions about this? Yes.
I have a question in general. So when I do this with my students, I usually don't give them I don't tell them which E to use. I say, what are all the possibilities? And we write them on the board, and then we eliminate the ones that you can't use so that they're the ones really discerning, because at some point, they're going to have to figure out which ones to use.
So I have a question for you. If we're writing the word beat, are there multiple ways to spell it? Yes. How about the word keep? Could I linguistically do this? Yes. So there's no way to figure it out. Not with some of these phonograms, or there's no way to figure it out, not with some of these sounds that are spelled in multiple ways. So that is what we're cueing and teaching. And this is also where a spelling journal can be very beneficial, because then a student's likely to make this error. Oh, I even remember that it had 2 letters in this phonogram. I forget which E it is. Then in the spelling journal, it has categories where they could write it under the correct one. This is where English spelling does take some practice, but at least we've narrowed down the options. This is also where spell check becomes amazing, because as you're typing and it underlines it and you're like, oh, it must be the other E. Oh, not that one. Oh, that one. Oh, perfect. On I go. So this is where our tools become very, very handy. But if we don't know all the options, then it's difficult. But with spelling analysis, which we're leading up to, we're teaching students how to spell these words, but we're asking them to use as much of the information as they can themselves, and then giving them what they would otherwise not be able to figure out on their own. Any other questions? All right, let's try the next word, boy.
I had a question.
Oh, sure.
So we were confused. Would we be doing this, like having the teacher be doing this and the students be writing, or would the students be doing the finger spelling with us? Or does it just depend on the activity?
Yeah, the students are actually going to be watching you finger spell. They'll be segmenting the words. And this is just the first step in spelling analysis. So hopefully in another few hours that will really come together for you. And if you still have that question, let me know. Let's try the word boy. And let's all do it together. B-oy. And then here's an example where I'd even ask the students, which oy will I use? Because can they figure that out? But I'll want to make sure that they've thought through it, and then they would say what? Oy that you may use at the end of English words. Let's try duck. D-a-k. And what will you use here? 2-letter k. And there's a spelling rule, if you've learned it, used only after a single short vowel. But you can also clarify, use 2-letter k, so they don't write ch, right? So make sure when you're finger spelling and you're using all one hand to do it in the direction of the student. So for example, light, l-I-t. Because if you do it this way, t-I-l, it would be backwards for the student. So as you're practicing, make sure that you're doing it in the direction of reading and writing for the student. Any questions about this? All right, well, we are going to add on to this process as we go.